Took off from Singapore fairly late into the night. I think it was close to 1 a.m. when the Scoot flight took off from Singapore to Manila. It's about a 5 hour flight, I think, from Singapore to Manila. So that's also an overnight flight. I fell asleep on this flight as well. It was, again, a pretty no frills flight, and it's best to have your dinner before you get on the flight because they don't really have any onboard meals, etc. Unlike their counterpart Singapore Airlines, where you would be treated with a sumptuous meal. So make sure you grab some food before you hop onto any type of Scoot flight because that's definitely going to be necessary, especially if it's a long flight. You're going to be hungry. They don't even have any snacks on board. So I reached Manila fairly early in the morning, and my Airbnb was not actually scheduled to be ready until later in the day. So I was waiting in the lounge. This is kind of a high rise building, really nice looking plush building. And this is in an area called Makati. It's basically the air residences in Makati. And I was just trying to kill some time before my room was ready. So I took a tour of the Airbnb, and you can see it's a pretty luxurious residence complex. And finally, I got my room around noon, and here's a quick room tour. It's a tiny one bed kind of room with a kitchenette, so you can cook your own food if you'd like. And it has a microwave and a refrigerator, and more like a studio feel. So fairly small, but I think quite sufficient if it's a single person who's traveling. I think you can squeeze a family of two into this as well, but perhaps if you have more, you need a larger room. The view from my room was fantastic as well. You can see the city of Makati, and perhaps that is the Manila Bay in the background, which you can see in a distance. I think for the money spent, it was very well worth it. Walking around the residency area was pretty good as well. You can see this thing here. It's called a jeepney. It's a very classic taxi, which is very unique to Manila. And it is quite frequently used by the locals and used as a fairly economical means of transportation around Manila. In general, I would say Makati is a pretty plush area. You would mostly expect this of any central business district, but I would say that Makati is definitely upscale, and you can see very sophisticated high rises as well as very nice buildings all over. In general, I would say Manila is not consistent across the city. Makati is fairly unique because it's a central business district, but the other parts of Manila are not necessarily the same. Makati is, I think, one of the nicer areas, and it's really uh, pleasant, as well as lots of greenery and lots of cool things to do as well. So I got some work done, and finally it was late in the evening, so time for some rest, and managed to check out this Mexican restaurant in also in the Air Residencies complex. They had this drink which is called a horchata, and I'd never really heard of that before, but it's actually more, I think, like a Mexican milkshake kind of a model where it turned out to be pretty good. And one thing I would say is Manila, the cost of everything is fairly reasonable, especially if you're converting US dollars to the Philippine pesos. It is very, very reasonable in general. They have these outdoor, more like a US farmers market kind of model where there's a lot of shops which are very cottage industry like. And you'll see a lot of them outside of the larger malls. So that's very unique to, I think, Manila. And there's also the large malls, which are more traditional malls. So this is the Manila Bay. If you look at this, this is actually near the south. I think it's the southeast mall of Manila, and one of the largest mall areas in the Manila metro area. And I really enjoyed walking around, checking out all the seafood restaurants and lots of other types of cuisines available in the Bay Area. And in general, I think it looks like a traditional mall in any Western country. Walking into the mall, you have to get in through one of the large entrances. I think I picked the one where you have the grocery store entrance. So I'm walking through the grocery store. So you can see what a grocery store looks like here in the Manila area. Lots of yummy treats as well available in the mall. So lots of brownies and cupcakes if you'd like to indulge. I think in general, there's plenty of shakes and brownies, etc., which I'm seeing in most of the malls. There's also this shop here called, I think, Coutura, which has excellent souvenirs, which is very unique to Philippines. So you can see some excellent local handicrafts, all the way from the traditional uh, Philippine food that you can purchase, from things like mango extracts, etc., to more clothing and things like that. The other interesting thing about the Philippines is that there are definitely these ultra plush malls, but I think across the city you'll see disparity in terms of income, as well as the opulence that you're seeing here is not necessarily what you would find everywhere in Manila. So I managed to again squeeze in some food here. Again, being vegetarian, the options were fairly limited, so I had to stick with my favorite Mexican food once again. But I think the treats around me were pretty tempting, so I managed to try some of them as well, mostly in terms of desserts, etc. Getting back, I couldn't find a grab, so I was in a taxi and I found something interesting, which is the auto rickshaw, which is common in India, is also something that I found in Manila, which was pretty interesting. It was time to head back, and I'm back at the airport and getting back onto my flight, which again connects from Singapore and then heading back into Chennai. So I think I have a couple of hours here as well before my flight. The check-in was super smooth at the Manila airport and no hassles whatsoever. I think in general, pretty professional compared to some of the other Southeast um, countries that I've been to. Uh, I would say that the airport, maybe I would rate it maybe an 8 or a 10, which is pretty good. It's fairly small airport. If you compare that to some of the larger airports like the ones you see in the US, it's not on the same scale, not even the same scale as the ones in India, but fairly functional and quick. Immigration was interesting. I think they rush you through a different channel if you're a foreign passport holder. So that was pretty convenient. And I still managed to find plenty of time to get some food, some breakfast, and check out some of the souvenirs again to get some to take home. I think my experience in Manila was really very, very unique. I've been to other countries as well, but Manila has its own charm, and definitely would love to come back here one day and spend maybe a few more days to go to other parts of the Philippines. The flight to uh, Philippines, Singapore from Philippines is ready here for me, and I think the boarding process could have been a bit more smooth, but it was not too bad in general. Um, I'm looking forward to getting back into Singapore, spending some time there with some meetings, and then eventually heading into Chennai. The airline experience in general, I would say there are multiple options to fly into Philippines, but depending on where you're coming in from, I think Scoot worked out okay, but there's definitely the native Philippines airline, which has got probably the best connectivity if you're especially trying to connect further into other cities like Cebu City and the Philippines. I would recommend maybe flying Philippines instead of Scoot. There's definitely some merits to having the local airline carry you into Philippines because of the connectivity challenges. I would say that my experience at Philippines was pretty solid. I really enjoyed the experience in general. Perhaps my lack of ability to try out the local cuisine could have been a barrier, but being vegetarian. But otherwise, I've heard that the local cuisine is something that is really everyone should be checking it out and trying it out. There are lots of other options here to explore if you are back sometime in the Philippines. So for me, I'm looking to come back, maybe make next time make a trip to Cebu City or spend some more time in Manila and get to know the country a little bit more. As a destination for outsourcing, it is clearly one of the top destinations, and I could see why. The English capabilities as well as the infrastructure was definitely top notch. And personally, I was impressed by Philippines to be chosen as a destination for outsourcing, and it's clear why it remains as the business process outsourcing capital practically of the world. It does have some tough competition with India, but I think in terms of its ability to serve other parts of Southeast Asia as well, for example, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, as potential clients, in addition to clients in UK. And then the time zone convenience with the West Coast, I think it has some advantages compared to other destinations like India. So till then, let's stay in touch and like, share, and comment and subscribe.